I'm your cult boyfriend, and I'm talking about seasons 4 and 5 of Beverly Hills 90210 today. I loved them. I liked season 4 a lot more than season 5. Season 4 was expertly designed. My God. I love talking about shows like this. I love Beverly Hills 90210. There's something so comforting, so immensely and intensely rewarding about the entire experience. I love shows like Beverly Hills 90210. It's no question about it. I absolutely love this television show. I'm likely going to be jumping around a lot in this video because there's a lot of ground to cover. So I'm going to focus on the things that have made me think the most, the things that I find to be the most fascinating to discuss. Darren Star is a television auteur genius. I love his work. He brought the classic archetypes of coming of age media of teen storytelling and put them through a new sort of education, and they graduated from the Darren Star School dynamics, and by season 4 have entered new uncharted territory, college. While the first 3 seasons were devoted to transcending archetypal limitations, the archetypal limitations of John Hughes and even of James Dean, of every era of teen media, teen film and television. First 3 seasons transcends those archetypes, those archetypal limitations, and completely redefines what those archetypes are. The clearest example of this would be David, who clearly started off as like a geek, was in the same vein as Anthony Michael Hall's character within 16 Candles in the first 2 seasons. And by the end of his high school experience, he's a new sort of archetype, a brand new archetype that I think is truly emblematic of the 90s, as he's so interested and symbolic of 90s youth culture, such as music. And in season 4, the drug scene. The 90s saw, especially in California, saw a crystal meth epidemic. And in season 4, David develops an addiction to the drug. Because I really think that's what David's become. My favorite characters are still David and Donna, and I'll talk about Donna next. But David started off as a geek, and through Darren Starr's like beautiful, transformative style of storytelling and of teen soap operas, which he invented. Let's be honest. In fact, incorporating soap opera storytelling mechanics is how he revolutionized teen television as a whole. And the character of David, the archetype, the loser archetype, underwent his own transformation of character. And rather than being a loser or a geek, when he transformed, he started to become like an emblem, a mascot of early to mid 90s youth culture in the way he talks, in the way he speaks, in his musical interests, in his ethos, in his impulsivity, and in his drug of choice, meth. So through David in the 4th season, we're able to investigate and engage with the darker, more desperate, certainly more impulsive um, qualities of 90s youth culture. He represents all of those misfit sort of attributes that came to define the misdirected rebelliousness of an entire decade. And I really liked David with his crystal meth storyline. I thought he was a great character to choose for it because he is pure 90s at this point. He is definitive of the generation itself. Um, and I've always seen him as a person with an addictive personality, a person who is a little wired to begin with. And it was interesting seeing him lash out on people around him because that was completely not truly within his character. What's great about season 4, and I do like it a lot more than season 5, season 4 was elegantly designed. And with David, it was about him caving, him giving into his impulses, him losing self-control entirely. And we see that through his struggles with his addiction to methamphetamine, but we also see that by his character's climax at the end of the season, his completion of his arc, because his arc is his downfall. He doesn't learn in season four. He gets worse and worse, especially with his impulse control, where he cheats on Donna and loses his virginity to some bimbo record exec, and Donna catches him. David's arc in season four is about losing himself, losing his self control. Donna Martin's arc within both season four and five is being betrayed and beaten down so much that she seems to be a shell of her former self, a shell of the season three Donna that we all loved so much, of the Donna Martin graduates, revolutionary Che Guevara type symbol of rebellion. I fucking love Donna Martin so much. Ah, but season four and five is about beating her down. Sometimes literally. In season four, as we've covered, she's betrayed by David, a person that the audience, we all thought we could trust David. And David ends up cheating on her, and that's the first strike. And then season five is about whittling that down even further, with her first romantic interest of the season being this guy called Griffin, who's a complete elitist douchebag, and her second love interest being a guy named Ray, who is my most hated character. He's abusive. He throws her down the stairs, almost breaks her arm. He throws her against a door. He's verbally abusive as well. He kind of torments her. I hate Ray so much that by the end of season five, Donna just, it's like that spark inside her is going out. That spark that made her so unique and so adorable and so beloved as a character is going out. Like all the work that Darren Star and Tori Spelling and Aaron Spelling as well did throughout the first three seasons to make the airhead bimbo blonde archetype, like the party girl archetype, interesting and sophisticated and multi-layered and impossible not to like, an irresistible character. All that work is being punished and abused and challenged in some pretty, I think, horrific ways that I found really interesting philosophically, really interesting cinematically as well. I hate seeing Tori Spelling as Donna Martin losing that insatiable spark within her, but it's happening. And that's strange, right? Is this life imitating art, imitating life? Because I'm going to talk about some behind the scenes drama. I'm probably not as accurate as I could be. There's a lot of different points of view on things that happened. But when she was working on Beverly Hills 90210, she was in an abusive relationship. She was in a terribly abusive relationship, actually, that allegedly tore Shannon Doherty's and Tori Spelling their friendship apart. And I think according to Tori Spelling's memoir, Luke Perry almost fought this abusive boyfriend. And now in season five, Donna is going through something which I would call pretty similar to her real life situation, which kind of makes the scenes even have even more gravity to them, even more power. Even if it's a morbid power, there's more power to these scenes. Tori Spelling is doing incredibly well. I think I'm developing a crush on Tori Spelling, and I'm here for it. I love that for me. She's so good. She is so good. Donna Martin, she's the kind of character that you want to reach out and comfort because she's our comfort character. She became the show's comfort character, and through seasons four and five, she is losing that charming optimism that she possessed in the first three seasons. I'm not saying that as a criticism, I'm saying that it's something that is so sad and heartbreaking. And it works so well because Donna Martin is the last person I ever want to see cry or be threatened by some fucking piece of shit, kind of ugly construction worker who can barely play the guitar, who sounds like he has glass in his fucking throat. I hate this guy. He looks stupid and he's an idiot. He's untalented. If you haven't noticed, I, I have a severe hatred for the character of Ray. Actor does fine. This is not an attack on the actor. Fuck the character. I'm not supposed to like the character. I think I'm engaging. I'm reacting the way I'm supposed to. Fuck Ray. Rotten hell, Ray. You fuck. Fucking hate you. Don't ever touch Donna Martin again. Something that finally dawned on me around season 5 when everyone else was like fucking each other, like all teen dramas become pretty incestuous. I think that is it was Abby Morgan, one of the best teen drama characters ever from Dawson's Creek, actually remarking on that within the frameworks of the show itself. She's like, you all have this weird incestuous thing going on. That's inevitable. It happens within every teen drama. We put these archetypes within different dynamics sexually with other characters, and we watch the fireworks because sometimes those different dynamics, however unexpected they may be or unwelcome they may be, can be very interesting. So I get it, but at the time when everyone's sleeping with each other and swapping beds, basically, Donna is still a virgin, and I'm like, wow, the boss's daughter, Aaron Spelling's daughter, is the only one who who hasn't whose character hasn't had sex on the show, who's portrayed kind of virginal in a couple pretty noticeable degrees. I thought that was interesting. We're gonna have to talk a lot more about Aaron Spelling in the next video. So strap in for that. We're going to talk about Aaron Spelling's vision of television. He's a monumental figure, and I'm looking forward to going into him. But the reason we're going to have to talk about Aaron Spelling a lot more in our next video analysis is because seasons 4 and 5, those are the last ones where Darren Star was present. Season 5 was the last season he was creatively involved with, according to my research. Even and I think it's pretty obvious too. And I believe Aaron Spelling was pretty pissed off that Darren Star left the show halfway through, and season 6, the opening credits, the opening of season 6 no longer says created by Darren Star at the end of it. Aaron took that shit off, basically erasing Darren Star's name from the project in a way that I think is befitting of Aaron Spelling's behavior. I can't wait to talk about Aaron Spelling in the next video. We're gonna figure out what that was. Darren Star's vision was, I think, entirely revolutionary, and I think that Darren Star accomplished way more than he set out to do within these first 5 seasons of Beverly Hills 90210. He completely revolutionized not only teen storytelling, but television as an entire medium or art form. He did hell of a fucking lot. One of the most important figures in television, and easily one of the 5 most important creative figures within teen drama. Season 4 is the last time that I get to be around Shannon Doherty, who has been, I think, just delightful and wonderful this entire time. She left the show after season 4 due to drama behind the scenes. She had difficulties getting along with a lot of people, things like that. I'm not going to go into that part of it, even though that's pretty juicy. And Shannon Doherty shines most in season 4, just like she shined most within season 3, in the scenes where she is confrontational, in the scenes where she's being attacked, so she's responding in an aggressive way. She's a pretty intimidating figure. Like Brenda Walsh was fierce. I loved her. I loved her, and you do feel her absence in season 5. I miss Brenda Walsh. I miss her a lot. I like Brenda Walsh, a legendary teen character. Seasons 4 and 5 also have wonderful antagonists. In season 4, we get Paul Johansson as John Sears, an excellent villain. Paul Johansson is probably the ultimate teen drama villain actor. John Sears walks so that Dan Scott could fucking run. All right. He was amazing. I love John Sears. He was such a piece of shit. But Paul Johansson, If you haven't watched my One Tree Hill analysis videos, please watch them. They're pretty good. And Dan Scott's one of my favorite characters, and Paul's performance makes him one of the most interesting and engaging characters on the whole show. Like, I want to watch John Sears be a dick. I want to watch him be petty. I want to watch him bully Steve Sanders. I want to watch him be as bad as possible because Paul Johansson handles the material so well. And of course, what great antagonists do is they challenge characters in interesting ways. And Don Sears, his primary opponent was Steve Sanders, who's a character who definitely could use some confrontation, definitely could be challenged. Because we have to make Steve Sanders interesting. It's difficult to make an archetype like Steve Sanders like really engaging and unexpectedly interesting, but with a good antagonist like John Sears, who through his confrontations with Steve Sanders helps Steve Sanders reach a new sort of maturity or understanding of himself. Like that's when you could actually accomplish those kinds of sophistications with unexpected archetypes. And Steve Sanders ended up being one of the best characters of season 4, thanks to the antagonism, the constant villainy of John Sears. Season 4 is so wonderfully designed because at the final episode is like takes place at a fair or a carnival type college event, and all of the different kind of players or the other storylines are coming back like to not simply have a victory lap, but to kind of show that this was all deliberate, that this was entirely considered. And we're able to see someone like Steve Sanders, how he interacts with John Sears and with Celeste at the end of the season and compare it to how he was treating them at the beginning of the season. It magnifies the arc that Steve went through. It magnifies the arc that a lot of the different characters in there went through. It magnifies the arc that David went through as well, because that's when his ultimate downfall of cheating on Donna is revealed and is spotlighted in a pretty unforgiving way as well. Uh, With Steve Sanders, we get to see a more mature, um, a more virtuous guy, a more courageous one, a more formidable opponent for John Sears, someone who could truly stand up to him. John Sears, another great aspect to villains is that they could represent the hero at their worst, like their shadow archetype in a large way. And John Sears absolutely could have been what Steve Sanders would become if he continued on his like kind of douchebag pussy obsessed like philosophy. But thanks to a villain like John Sears, Steve Sanders was forced to mature, was forced to redefine machismo masculinity into something that is empathetic, that is sympathetic, that is fun to root for. I like rooting for Steve. And John Sears, lovely character. Paul Johansson, you're a fucking legend, man. Like, you are in the Hall of Fame. You know, oh my God, easily. Dan Scott and John Sears, he knew how to portray villains. And John Sears was a great one. Season 5, we also have a very good new villain who actually is added to the principal characters. She gets to be in the opening. Valerie, played by Tiffany Amber Thiessen. Whoa, whoa. I didn't know she was on this show, by the way. I have no fucking clue. I thought that honestly all she had for her largest claim to fame was Saved by the Bell. I didn't know that she was also on half of Beverly Hills 90210. That was a shock to me, but a pleasant surprise. Uh Regardless, I loved her. They went a little too ridiculous with her character a couple times. She is pure soap opera vixen, soap opera femme fatale, which is faithful to the show's frameworks because this is a teen television show that incorporates soap opera storytelling mechanics, and she is almost 100% soap opera. She's great. Really, 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 really attractive. Oh man. But it's interesting because it begs the question, right? Because Shannon Doherty had left, and it feels like Tiffany Amber Thiessen was meant to be a replacement. So they replace Brenda Walsh's character with someone who I think has the opposite qualities, right? Like Valerie is a deceitful seductress who, like, along with Dylan McKay, goes on actual like undercover capers in in Central and South America. What? Like international fucking like super spy stuff. What? And then she comes into a ton of money because of that and becomes some sort of big mogul. Like they went crazy with her character. Um, I like her. I like her villainy most. Once again, when it comes to who she's challenging, she didn't bring anything interesting out, and she fucking challenged everybody. And this is fun. This is fun writing, right? Because you're like, well, who can this new villain, this new antagonist, like, who can we like square her off against? Who can we have her face off for the most interesting things? And they really experimented, really played around with it. I don't think she brought anything interesting out of Dylan McKay. He was spiraling already. I don't think she helped at all. What they provided to the early episodes of season 5 was eroticism, which is great, which is something that you definitely need, but did not provide much philosophy or food for thought. She didn't challenge Steve in any way, in any interesting way. Like she humiliated and emasculated him. It's not that interesting. We've kind of seen that done before. The characters who she was most interesting around, I think, were Ray and Donna. Challenging Donna in interesting ways, challenging uh, David and another newcomer, Claire, in interesting ways. So, like that was where I liked her the most, where she was secretly sleeping with Ray while being two-faced and kind of making Donna look like a fool. At the same time, David and Claire both know about it, and Valerie knows. There are a lot of cool dynamics there. Like that's a complex, melodramatic situation that's really, really fun to watch develop, especially in the final episode of the season, where Donna's like, "Do you think I'm stupid? Like, I know something happened with you and Ray. I know that. I'm not an idiot. Just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't know." Which reminds me, like a dagger in the chest of like, don't ever call Donna Martin stupid because she's not actually dumb. People always think that she's stupid. And if you remember the earlier seasons of Beverly Hills 90210, every time she was called stupid, it was like a dagger in her heart. And through Spelling's performance, you can see how much that affected her. She's uh, highly sensitive to people thinking and people actually calling her stupid. To me, that was almost worse. Like that, like, you know what I mean? Like that, because in that confrontation with Valerie, Donna's like, "You slept with my man. That's one thing. But you think I'm too dumb to pick up on it? You think I'm too dumb to figure that out for myself? I'm not." It's almost like Valerie making her look like a fool was worse than the unfaithfulness, the the affair itself. Like it's really cool. It's really fucking cool. And the whole reason they're having that conversation is because Valerie saw Ray push Donna down a flight of stairs and almost break her arm. And oh my god, if Donna doesn't want to fucking tell anybody because Donna's a shell of herself now. She has no reason to believe in anything, especially not romantic love. And through season 5, David is certainly learning and coming to terms with the fact that he is hopelessly devoted to Donna. You fucked that one up, David. I love you. You're my boy, but holy fuck. Donna Martin? David Silver's a real fucking idiot sometimes, dude. Yay. God. But Valerie is a good villain. She's fun because, as I've talked about before, a lot of these characters are like kind of primitive versions of archetypes we would see later on. I absolutely feel that Dylan McKay is like the poster child for the poor little rich boy archetype that we'd see done time and time again in the future, in the very close future, right? The very near future, like Tristan DeGray from Gilmore Girls and Chuck Bass or Nate Archibald from Gossip Girl, I think owe a lot to Dylan McKay. And a character like Valerie, I feel like this is a primitive version, a very early version of a character like Rachel Gatina from One Tree Hill. I think they serve probably mirrored purposes, like basically the same exact function. They operate the same way within the narrative. All right. I think Rachel's a better character, but that's because I spent a lot more time with her. Maybe I'll actually like Valerie even more as the show progresses. Um, I just think that what they were able to do with Rachel on One Tree Hill was really unique, and pretty cool. But she's like an early version of that. And speaking of things done over and over and over again, let's talk about that for a second because Dylan McKay in season 5 finds himself practicing um, spirituality, getting really interested in reincarnation, actually. He even tells Brandon in the very last episode of the season, well, if you can't figure it out now, don't worry about it. We've got many, many, many more lifetimes to do that. And he has dreams about like his past, like a past self, a past version. Let's play along. Let's be true to my analytical style. A past version of his archetype, or even then, like his soulmate was Kelly. That is really interesting because it's like those two archetypes are drawn to each other. And I definitely think that Dylan McKay started off as the bad boy, as the dangerous kind of character. He became like the poor little rich boy kind of guy. But still, Chuck Bass would have characteristics of the bad boy. Ryan from the OC would be very similar to Dylan McKay. And also be a bad boy. And those two characters are fun because those archetypes that I think are the same as Dylan McKay's archetype, who do they end up with? Like who's their ultimate romantic fixation? Who are their soulmates? Chuck's is Blair Waldorf, the ultimate queen of the Upper East Side, and Ryan's was Marissa, the ultimate insider of Newport Beach. So the Dylan McKay archetype of the bad boy will always have his soulmate be the princess. Who's the princess of fucking Beverly Hills 90210? It is Kelly. It is our delicate, strong, beautiful, flawless blonde. That's it. And like Dylan's right. Those archetypes are soulmates. They are soulmates. Dylan and Kelly are soulmates. And I think that's supported by just how well that works within the stories. And the stories that Beverly Hills 90210 would inspire. For the record, Stephanie Savage and Josh Schwartz, I think Gossip Girl is the greatest teen television show of all time. Um, but I don't think it would have existed without Beverly Hills 90210. Now that I'm watching Beverly Hills 90210, Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage created and they were the showrunners of both The OC and Gossip Girl. And those two shows, I think a lot more than The OC. You can see so much Beverly Hills 90210. Like Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage were, I think, pupils of Darren Starr's brand style of storytelling. And the OC is shockingly good, and Gossip Girl is a masterpiece completely. And I think both shows that the primary influence behind both of them is Beverly Hills 90210. You can see it. You can absolutely see it. And maybe if I'm even too postmodern to believe in a concept of soulmates, I absolutely see what Dylan is talking about and what the show is talking about. Those two archetypes, the character dynamics, they are meant to be together. Like, you can't put a Kelly Taylor and a Dylan McKay, a Chuck Bass and a Blair Waldorf, a Ryan or a Marissa within the same framework and not have them end up together. Like, they will. They will, whether you actually want them to or not. They are designed. They like it's beyond design because you can get metaphysical with this. Like the nature of storytelling, the nature of their characters and their dynamics, they will always like there's no other word for it. Characters like that, human beings like that, because human beings, we are also archetypes as well, are drawn towards certain people every time. I mean, that's what it means when it's like, do you have a type? And like people will say like tall, dark, and handsome, or like guys will go for looks or girls will go for status, those kinds of like brain dead ideas. But what do you have a type truly means is like, do you have an archetype? Do you have an archetypal preference? Because that's really who you end up with a lot. I don't know about you. I know in my personal life, I end up with girls who are like basically have like a lot in common when you think back on it, when you step back and like look at it, and you're like, oh man, these women who I end up with like in longer relationships with, they all have a lot of like shared personality traits. Like they do, because we are archetypes as well, just like Dylan and just like Kelly. And man, maybe we do have soulmates, but like I think that we all like our lives are narrative, right? And we all have our own narrative, and we're all inventing and writing our narrative as we're going along. And we all like we all have a character that we play, and I don't mean to say that life is inauthentic. It's more like life is theater, right? It doesn't have to be inauthentic, but we do have characters. We do have like learned like personalities, right? And when we do perform, when we go out in public, we perform. I think we even perform when we're alone. I think we're always performative because we've been surrounded by a lot of media. But I think that our lives are narrative, and we treat them like narratives. We like to look back at our lives episodically, season by season, and be able to see character growth. And we actually get really depressed when we don't see that growth and we feel inert. I think that's what makes a lot of people depressed, is when character growth isn't happening. So they got to spice up, they got to figure out a way to make their own episodic narrative that they're actually living more interesting. But what I'm really trying to say is that certain people fit into other people's narratives better than other people do. Like certain people fit into my life better than they would fit into someone else's life. I fit into someone, like a particular kind of person's life, better than other people would. And like you're drawn towards those narratives, like and the narratives that are surrounding like the person that you're desiring. You're attracted to the narratives that are surrounded within them, and you want to be a part of that ongoing narrative. And sometimes you can't help but be drawn towards a certain type of person because you enjoy that shared narrative, which is love, and love with that kind of person. And that's really Dylan and Kelly. And you can figure out life by watching enough of these teen soap operas. You can truly figure it out, you know, without losing like the romance or magic of actual life. Like it's fucking cool. Thank you, Beverly Hills 90210. We say goodbye to Andrea in season 5. Good riddance. Phew. Andrea was a flop. Never liked her. She had a baby. She got a boyfriend. Cheated on her boyfriend, or became her husband. They left. I wanted to like her. I saw her as like an early version of maybe like a Paris Geller, but she was never truly interesting. Paris Geller is one of the best characters in teen drama, but I don't think Andrea Zuckerman really did anything to set the stage you know, for Gilmore Girls and Paris Geller later on. I think Andrea was really boring and uninteresting. I like Brandon now. They finally figured out how to use Jason Priestley, and they made him more like a political figure, which is cool because I'm like, yeah, he does have a bit of a JFK swag going. Like he's got that drip. I like him in those roles. I really like him and Dylan as rivals, as like romantic rivals for Kelly's heart. I like seeing those two different kinds of people going at it. Um, I like them being confrontational with each other. It's really fun. It makes for very engaging television because their approaches are so different. I still think that Brandon as a character is so self-righteous to the point of arrogance, and he's self-absorbed too, which I think is like fine. I think that's like part of the flaws of his character. He's also virtuous, and I think he is dependable. Um, but he doesn't stand no shot, man, no shot. As we just covered in excruciating postmodern detail and thought, Dylan and Kelly are soulmates. But it's interesting seeing the golden boy of the show being challenged by Dylan McKay and not coming out on top. It's fun seeing Brandon lose, because he treats it by being self-destructive, which is unexpected. Well, it's not unexpected. We just never seen Brandon kind of defeated before, so that's nice. I don't hate Kelly and Brandon together. It just doesn't feel genuine, and it's certainly not as powerful as Dylan and Kelly together. But I finally like being around Brandon Walsh, so that's a huge improvement. That's awesome. That's great. Emily Valentine showed up for 2 episodes in each season. I love Emily Valentine. She's great. Brandon actually cheats on Kelly with Emily Valentine, where he makes out with her. What was up with Emily Valentine's weird, Louise Brooks Pandora's box hair in season 5? I thought she was a stunner in season 4, and of course in season 2, but season 5, what the fuck was that? That was weird. That was a weird look. Her character, it's nice to see this new '90s outsider. Um, Rehabilitated, seemingly emotionally healthy. Um, I liked her. We didn't. She wasn't around long enough to do extremely interesting things, but I thought she was one of the most interesting parts of the show's second season. So I loved seeing her appear in seasons 4 and 5. I love Emily Valentine. Um, she's just delightful to me. Claire is a character that needs a bit more work. I think Kathleen Robertson is gorgeous, and I thought she was really cool at the end of season 4, right? Where she was this like young, almost antagonist, wannabe seductress in a lot of ways. And I feel like they dropped that entirely because Tiffany Amber Thiessen's Valerie was going to be occupying that position within the show moving forward. And they forgot to give Claire personality. I mean, she's got she's got attitude, she's cool. I don't hate her. It's just she's not remarkably interesting. They need to do some work with her, to make her more interesting because I think she has a lot of potential. I think she can be great, and she was really captivating at the end of season 4, but by the time of season 5, where she was around in virtually every single episode, she was. And they paired her with David, which I don't like that couple. That's a boring couple. I don't know what they're doing. They don't engage with each other in interesting ways, and that's not Claire or David's fault. It's just a boring pairing. It's just like, well, we don't have anyone else to put these two with, you know? We'll just put them together, I guess, even though there's no true chemistry there. Claire could be really cool. They just have to figure out like what position is she occupying in this show, because I feel like they knew it in season 4 where she first appeared, but then gave her position away to Valerie, and then Claire had nothing remarkable to do for the entirety of season 5. So season 5, I do see a lot of Veronica Mars season 3 here, especially with the serial rapist on campus. A lot of Veronica Mars season 3 is it's definitely here. This is such a massively inspirational and influential show. I can see all of my favorite stuff here. It's wild. God damn, I miss Shannon Doherty though. Like I wish I could see how she would interact with some of the situations in season 5. Because Brenda always had an interesting way of dealing with the high stakes drama of 90210. She always had a very interesting way of doing that. I really liked Brenda. I miss her. I miss her. The show does suffer without her. A little bit. That much is undeniable. Shannon Doherty was, I think, a huge part of what made the first 4 seasons of Beverly Hills 90210 so beautiful. I liked season 5, but I'm starting to have a lot of criticisms now. The more modern that we get within the show, the more criticisms I'm finding within it. I liked it. I liked it, but there were certain things that were just like, what the fuck, right? Like Dylan got ripped off at the end of season 4. Like season 4 was so good. Oh my god. Half the characters in season 4 end in complete defeat, like Dylan and David and whatnot, and the others end in victory. Like Steve. Dylan was ripped off by a family of con artists, like for his entire fortune. That was cool. That was great. Challenged him in a huge way. You take away the prince's throne. Wow. Wow, that's so cool. All right, but season 5, I don't know what show Luke Perry is on half the time. His storylines are weird, and they're separated. They're not really integrated within the rest of the characters. Sometimes it's like Dylan McKay has his own action film, his own gangster film that is like not really connected to the larger framework or ensemble. Like when he gets back at the family of con artists, it's like undercover secret agent action movie stuff, which is still faithful to the soap opera storytelling mechanics. Or like near the end where he's selling like a movie idea and he almost gets thrown out of a gondola by actual mobsters and stuff, and then like he's loading his gun like he's fucking Charles Bronson at the end. I'm like, what show is fucking Luke Perry on? Which reminds me a lot of stuff that Chuck Bass got into near the end of Gossip Girl, it was beautifully done in Gossip Girl. Right now, it's a bit more. It feels a little bit more cheap within Beverly Hills 90210. I think because it is so transparently devoted to the soap opera storytelling mechanics, whereas by the time Gossip Girl would do similar things, um, there were a lot of ways to kind of mask what was truly going on, which was also soap opera storytelling mechanics. But there were clever ways to mask that to make it feel more sophisticated than it arguably was. Gossip Girl was a masterpiece, no flaws. You can't tell me that there ever was one. Fuck off. But Beverly Hills 90210, sometimes, sometimes it bites off more than it can chew, or at least provides me with more than I can swallow. But it's fine. I fucking love it still. Like, I'm not saying I'm not entertained by it. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? This is okay. And I'm like, I'm supposed to analyze. I'm not gonna be able to analyze this at all. Yeah, yeah. Go off, Dylan. Go off, King. You like, what do you do? Like, what is half of his stories? He's just so. He doesn't even go to college anymore. Like, I don't get it. He's not even involved with anybody. We have to reintegrate Dylan McKay into the main fold. That like we have to make Dylan McKay work within the ensemble. Because right now it's like Beverly Hills 90210 plus the Dylan McKay show, which may or may not be involved with the other characters. And I'm sure there are probably a lot of reasons for that. Maybe Luke Perry was unsatisfied with the show and he was requesting kind of different, more challenging or more daring things for his character. Who knows? That's what it feels like. But whatever. Whatever. This is prime time teen soap opera, and it's true to form. And its form for its time is revolutionary. It's a gorgeous show, and I love it. I can't wait to be back here talking about the next couple seasons of Beverly Hills 90210. I want to thank you for watching me today. Hopefully, I gave you something to think about. Hopefully, I was insightful. I love talking about this show. I'm devoted. It's my obsession talking about teen television. I'm gonna end the video now because I could go off for another couple hours on these two seasons. Um, I guess if I want you to walk away from this video with anything, is it's that soulmates do exist. Soulmates are real. Dylan and Kelly are meant for each other. Narratively, cinematically, romantically, they're meant for each other. And we're all meant for someone else as well. We're all meant for somebody. We're all, like I said, we're all drawn towards certain kind of person. And maybe we get closer and closer and closer to finding the type that perfectly fits our own. And we can have that shared narrative called marriage or living a life together. Yeah, if I want you to leave with anything, remember that this show is deeply romantic and I think unreasonably intellectual, but I don't think a lot of people engage with it on the level that it deserves to be engaged with. This show is so romantic and it's so like intellectually stimulating. I love it. I love it. And they have so much fun with it. These soap opera storytelling mechanics. You're like, no fucking way. No way. No way. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. And then it got all those great frustrating moments of like, oh God, just tell her. Donna, just tell somebody. Tell somebody that Ray's a piece of oh my God, I want to see Ray get clobbered. I want to see him get fucking knocked out. I want to see him leaking, bro. Fuck, dude. Ugh. I have a lot of things I want out of season six. But it's going to be interesting because Darren Star is not going to be involved anymore. We're going to, next time, have a nice little chat about Aaron Spelling and season six and seven of Beverly Hills 90210. Thank you for watching my content.